Hello, hello, hello. This is WOLFpak Live, and my name is Wendy Fortino. I'm here. We are awaiting our guest. She's getting her microphone set up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is live television. This is how it is. We are just trying to sort through the audio right now, but coming into our presence, here she is. We have Miss four-time Olympia champion. That did not happen by accident. We're going to get into it. We have Miss Andrea Shaw. How are you doing today, Andrea?
Excellent.
Oh yeah,
It's
that
prep
actually
time,
is.
so this is a good time.
Yeah. And number one, okay, the audio is perfect. Number two, those earphones look really cute on you. So we are in a win-win situation.
The
Yeah.
pink. It's got to be pink.
Yes. And I know it's 8 o'clock for you right now.
Yeah.
Where are you?
I'm in Michigan.
You're in Michigan. Okay. I don't know. I didn't know that for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you got a
you're in
lot of
Michigan.
sunlight where you are. I can see it.
Yes. We have a lot of sunlight. It's beautiful outside. It gets a little hot here, but we'll take it.
That's it. Better than snow.
Right.
Just saying.
I mean, it depends on what you're into. You know what I mean?
Right.
Andrea, I feel like I've in a roundabout way, I've gotten to know you quite a bit over the last few years. We are at events together. I see you killing it. And one thing that is always so awesome about you is, I mean, I know that you're a champion. I know that you won Miss Olympia 4 times now. Every time I see you, you have this ability to do so many things and stay on point. You have non-negotiables in your day when you're prepping for something, and this is why you're the champion. And I'm gonna go back to a memory that I have, and then I want you to talk about it. I remember you came out to Arizona, and you came out for an interview, and I think it was the weekend of the women's workshop, and we did the women's workshop. You did an interview in the studios out there, and we all went out to dinner with Jake. And I remember you were 4 weeks out from competing, something like that.
I think I was like 4 or 5 weeks out. Yeah.
And you looked incredible. You were able to go out to dinner with us. You were able to get in your training. You were able to do all that. And you did the interviews that we had you do. And you did the women's workshop. Put me through that process. Like, how do you stay on your A game and get through all that crazy stuff?
I think it's just a matter of pre-planning. So I always go in with a game plan. So when we're going out to eat, if I'm allowed to have anything that's on the menu, I've pretty much already scoped out the menu. So I know exactly what it is that I can and can't eat. And then when it comes to timing, right, I like to make sure that, like, when it comes to a certain time, like, I'm really clear with my people, like, I got to go do cardio. So I don't want to be rude. Don't mean to be rude. But I have to go. So, and most people are really gracious. I mean, they're like, we understand. You got to do your job, champ. And have fun. But it's just a matter of finding that balance and knowing how to express where the boundaries are, so that people understand that this is something that's really important to me. And I think I got some training too, or at least some practice with my family, right? First. And then it just becomes easier to do outside of the home. But it's really just a matter of timing. I have to, when I was a mortgage banker, yes, I used to do mortgages. We used to time block. So time blocking becomes something that I got really, really, really good at and really fond of. So time blocking is like, okay, from 8 to 9, I'm doing this, and I'm not doing anything else between 8 and 9, right? So it's just a matter of, once I block the time, then this is what I'm doing. I'm dialed into this task. And again, when it's more social, I go into it and saying, okay, we're meeting at, I think we met for dinner at like maybe 8 or 9. All right, I need to leave by 10 because I need to be on the treadmill no later than 11, right? Like,
I remember.
It's the timing. And I usually always scope out the hotel gym as soon as I get to the gym,
Yeah.
I mean, to the hotel and get checked
Yeah.
in. I scope out the hotel gym. I look at what I got to work with. That way, I mean, because the pictures online are one thing, but like when you see it in person, it's like, okay, yeah, I can work with that. Right. So again, it's
Yeah.
just pre-planning and it's detailed. A lot of people say, oh gosh, it doesn't take all that. It depends on who you are.
Yeah.
And it's just my comfort level to be able to pivot if I need to be able to investigate and have something pre-planned. I don't like going
Yeah.
in with no plan.
You know what they say? They say if you want something done, give it to a busy person. Isn't that
That's
true?
it, because we're gonna find a way to get it done.
You're gonna put it in your schedule. You're gonna find a way. All right. Okay. So there's a few things that I personally want to know from you. So this is like a personal, like what I want to know conversation, and I'm pretty sure that other people want to know it too. Okay. So yeah, get ready to have some fun.
We've done this. We've done this before.
We have. But first, I mean, obviously, where you are today is not something that's happened by accident. Okay. And I do know, looking back at your history, you did turn pro in 2017, right?
18
18. Okay. 2018 in physique.
in physique. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I just want to pull that up really fast. We have, this is, let's see. So here we are, right?
Look at young Dre.
Yes. So in
Oh.
2018, okay, you turned pro, taking second place in the physique
Mhm.
category. Okay. 2019 comes around and you took seventh at the Rising Phoenix, right? And then we get to 2020. Something happened to you in 2020. Okay. You went from the underdog to the beginning of your reign as four-time Miss Olympia. All right. This is what I want to talk to you about because a lot of people don't understand, a lot of people will never understand like what it's like to go from being an underdog to being like the person with basically like the target on your back now. I mean, ongoing, you have the title and everybody wants it. Put me through that process. Tell me about, what it was that shifted you so dramatically from 2019 to 2020. And then like we'll go from there. I want to talk to you about more about on the other side of that.
I would have to say it started right after the Rising Phoenix, and um, I started the process coming into seventh place. That year, I did 3 shows. It was my pro debut at Toronto Pro, and then I had my women's bodybuilding debut at Chicago
Mhm.
Pro. And bodybuilding was still new, but I knew it was where I fit. So then it just
Mhm.
became a matter of, okay, how am I going to bring my personality through in bodybuilding and really learn and master the art of being on stage with it and being comfortable with it, because the posing is very different. And I've been able to talk to a few girls who have made the transition over into women's bodybuilding from women's physique
Yeah.
about that. It's very different because not only do we have more poses, but the way we pose is very different. It's not
Right.
as streamlined as women's physique, if I can put it that way. And
Right.
I needed to sit with that a little bit more because it was just a matter of I was not comfortable um, with where I was in the transition. But I
Yeah.
wanted to do the Rising Phoenix because I felt like it was a very good choice to show good sportsmanship. You know what I mean? To support
Yeah.
Wings of Strength. I mean, it's a huge honor that they were carrying that show, obviously, when the Miss Olympia went away. And it
Yeah.
was like, okay, you know what? This is an opportunity, and I want to be able to at least, do it and move forward. But I had some
Mhm.
slip ups during that prep. I was
Yeah.
very tired during that prep, and I wasn't being very honest about it. I think that at that point, I just wanted to get through it, but I was still very exhausted from the long stretch that I had in 2018. So in 2018, I did 5 shows,
Oh,
and I
wow.
literally was in prep. I was in prep from January to November, and it was a long prep, and I went through a lot that year. I lost some people that were close to me, kind of like in successive order, right before I got my pro card. Literally within like 2 weeks of each other. Like it was a rough road to get to my pro card.
People
I
you
lost my
were really
makeup
close
artist.
to.
My godmother passed away.
Oh my
And then I
gosh.
had some friends who were huge supporters who died in a house fire, all in the month of September. And it was
What?
hard. It was hard. It was like I couldn't believe it. It was like, does this really happen to people in real life? It was like I got the call, and then the very next week I got another call, and then the very next week I got a message from someone because I was coaching an athlete that my friends died in the
No.
house fire. So it was like I never processed it. I just kind of shoved it under the rug, and I just
Right.
kind of moved on. And it was hard, but I wanted to get into the pro debut and do my
Mhm.
best. So I kind of
Yeah.
I channeled the pain, but I
Yeah.
didn't really sit and process the grief. And that part, I think once I got to the end of the road with the Rising Phoenix that year, I was exhausted. I was cheating on my
Yeah.
diet. My coach said, you know, you're not allowed to have X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, well, it's still seafood. I can eat shrimp. I can eat. And I was too lax.
Yeah.
I was too lax, and
Mhm.
I wasn't sitting with the things
Yeah.
that I knew I need to process. But after the show, I said, man, seventh place did not feel good. I'm like walking away with nothing, no medal, no trophy, like
Yeah.
nothing. And again, you need to. I think that competitors who do have that experience, they have a very important decision to make, right? Be honest with yourself and know that you didn't give your best to the prep.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do about it moving forward? So then it was like, okay, they announced that the Miss Olympia was coming back. And I said, ooh, okay, I have an opportunity to come back,
Yeah.
defend my name, right? Because I knew that first Rising Phoenix was just not my best. So I
Yeah.
have a chance for redemption. I can come back, win not only the Rising Phoenix, but also the Miss Olympia. And the
Yes.
Miss Olympia was on my birthday. They scheduled it on my birthday
What?
in
Shut up.
2020.
Are
And I
you
was like,
serious?
I'm like, ah, of course this can work. I'm like, okay, I just got to
All the
get with the
signs were
program,
there.
all the signs. And then I reached
Oh
out to
my
Sid
gosh.
Gillen and I asked her if she was coaching for posing for women's
Yeah.
bodybuilding. She told me
Mhm.
yes. And I'm like, okay, this is really starting to like come together. And then I sat down and talked with my coach about what show we wanted to pick as the qualifying show for
Yeah.
2020. Because again, after the season is done, we try to go in with a game plan for off
Yeah.
season and for the upcoming season. So I
Right.
wanted to make sure I knew once the Miss Olympia was announced, I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
thank you, Lord. I can actually accomplish a huge goal like in 1 year's time. And
That's
so
so
that became my
awesome.
focus, to redeem myself and to just give it my very best and to really say to myself, don't ever let that happen again. Be honest about where you are and then be okay with stating that. And I think some
Yeah.
people, there's a shame that comes with saying that you're not okay. And it's okay to say that you're not okay. I know people say that, but like you really have to say to yourself, you know what? If I really am going to process this
Yeah.
and be better, I need to be honest about where I'm at. And I just was not where
Yeah.
I should have been mentally or
Yeah.
physically because the stage shots showed, right, that
Yeah.
I wasn't dialed in. I wasn't
But you
dialed in
know, it still
2019.
had a place in your journey though, because here's how I look at it. I feel like yes, you didn't come in maybe at your best when you took seventh at the Rising Phoenix. However, it was a placeholder for you in your emotional part of your life, right? Because you had just gone through so much like so many devastating blows that I feel like this is another thing. I mean, tell me if you agree with this, but I feel like, you know, competing has always been such a sanctuary for me. And not every show is like the absolute best show, but there are times when maybe it wasn't the best show, but I don't have any regrets because it was like a placeholder for something traumatic that I was going through at the time. And it maintained some type of normalcy for me. And so for you, everyone doesn't know what's going on in your life. Only you know what's going on in your life. So it's probably eating you up that like everybody sees you taking seventh, but they have no idea what you have in store, like what you actually can do. But that's what you know, right? So you
Yeah.
come out of that and you have everyone fooled. Everyone thinks, okay, she's like not someone to worry about, but you know, like you have come out of this like traumatic season, you're burnt out, you know, you were cheating on your diet, but then, you know, you're like that had its place, it had its moment, and now you had the fire, right?
Yeah.
That's, I
Yeah, and
mean, that's,
I just knew because I even if I looked at the pictures of Toronto Pro compared to
yeah,
the Rising Phoenix that year, I came in a lot sharper at Toronto Pro because I
yeah,
just my mind was still like fully dialed into bringing my best, and the pressure was there. It's a pro debut, right? I wanted to really, really be good. But yeah, again, I was still working full time, 40 plus hours a week, plus
Yeah.
still holding all kinds of side clients
Yeah.
privately, as well as posing clinics once a month, every Sunday. And I had just started traveling with Wings of Strength with the ambassador program. So I was doing a lot.
Wow. That is crazy.
Doing a
This is the Toronto Pro. You look amazing. You have separation in your legs, you know, your conditioning, your arms, your upper body, everything looks really good. So that was before you headed into the Chicago, which you also looked amazing. You had your muscles look nice and full, great conditioning, great look. But then you went into the Rising Phoenix, and that's where you didn't feel like that's not obviously a good pose. I mean, I can't click on any of these without leaving the page. I'm sorry, but we're just looking at your conditioning. We're not looking at the pose, but you know, I will say you look amazing. But yeah, I mean, it's compared to the conditioning that we've seen from you since, it's obviously not necessarily the best from you, you know, but I, I don't know. I think there's another aspect of all this, right? And that is, you know, some people, they don't realize this. I think it's like subconscious, right? They almost are afraid to come out of that like underdog state because it's a scary thing. And I'm not saying that if somebody wasn't afraid of it, they could just go be the champion. Oh, I'm not afraid of it. Like, I'll take the champ. No, it doesn't automatically mean that you're going to be the champion. But this is the journey you're like, yeah. But you were, you know, and so tell me about like how that felt. And then I want to hear how it feels now that you're hanging on to this title. What does that feel like? How many titles do you want to take? And I mean, put me through that.
I
You're
think that the
like,
biggest
I
thing,
saw that.
I know, right? Can't
And I
can't
already
help it.
know it too.
The biggest thing is that really now I'm really focused on, and this is a mindset that I try to keep for every prep. Give your best. If you give your best, then there's no regrets, right?
Mm,
Don't If you want to avoid the feeling that you had in 2019 at the Rising Phoenix,
mhm.
do what's required. That doesn't necessarily mean that, it should be looked at as like an arduous task, or it should be looked at as I have to. It's just a I get to. Because
Mhm,
why wouldn't you want to give your best?
mhm.
And then it became just more of a personal accountability, because now I know, okay, when you show up and you absolutely give your best, then you can walk away knowing that, hey, you either learn something, or of course, best case scenario, you walk away with, the first place. But again, it's just a matter of where does the integrity lie? And I really
Yeah.
had to have that conversation with myself. So at the beginning of every prep, now I have that conversation, and I have a little trick. I put down certain days and
Tell me the
sayings
tricks.
on the rough days. I'll just write them down. You know, right? I'll write them down, and I'll say, okay, on this day, I remember that eating candy or eating Tic Tacs does not get you first place. And I'll put it away. I'll put it away in the envelope, and then I'll say, something encouraging right under that. And then I write these down throughout my prep, and I put them in an envelope, and I save them until the next prep when I'm having a hard day, and I'll go to that envelope and I'll pull something out, and I'll say, okay, the way I'm feeling is okay. Here's how I got through it last time.
Yeah.
And remember, just give your best. You can feel much better about the outcome when you know you give your best, because you're going to have those peaks and valleys.
I
That just
like
goes
that.
with prep, but that's the joy of being able
Yeah.
to persevere and do the things that are not comfortable,
Yeah.
because it's what we love to do, and that's what makes being on stage that much better. I know what I gave, I
Yeah.
know what I put in, I know what I invested. And when you invest a lot,
Yeah.
you whenever you give, you're going to get back. So we
Yeah.
call it sowing and reaping, right? So whatever you sow into it, you're going to get that back. So when you sow the good, you're going to get the good back. You sow the bad,
Uh-huh. You're gonna get the
yeah.
bad.
But
Yeah.
now again, it feels good because it's a matter of mastering myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the joy of the journey. So every prep from 2020 up until current day, it's just a matter of mastering myself. I'm not
Ooh.
concerned about what any other competitor is doing. I'm not concerned about who's coming or who's new kid or who's old kid or who's coming back. And I don't care. I don't
Yeah.
care. All I care about is making sure that I personally bring a package at least as best as I can, better than what I did last year.
Yeah.
Long as I do that and I can master me, everything else will fall into place. And
Ooh.
that's the joy of being able to be in prep now, is
You're
that I
giving
look
me
at it completely.
chills. This is so good. Oh God, this is exactly what I needed. Not to be selfish
Much
here,
more
but
balanced.
this is
Much
what I
more
needed.
balanced. It's much more balanced because I think people underestimate the things that we learn about ourselves in prep. And I this is what I love about it. I was actually just talking about this with Sid earlier. You learn something about yourself every
Totally.
prep, something new, something different, or how to change your perspective or interact with someone
Yeah.
in a different way. There's always something that you learn about yourself, because for me, it's like a spiritual journey being in prep. It's a way to really figure out, do you still love it? Does it still
Yeah.
bring you joy? And is it worth the sacrifice and the commitment and the effort that really is required? And
Yeah.
every single time, it's a resounding yes. Resounding
Oh
yes. It's
God.
worth it.
That's so good. And you know, something I noticed that I picked up on with you is I think at least two or three times I pushed the whole like, you were the underdog and now you're the one with the target on your back. And you keep focusing so much on like giving your best effort and how that's where that's like your reference point. That's kind of like your litmus test for whether or not you feel like you were successful, and also what you're focusing the most on. And if you did that, then that's basically like when you feel like you've won, you know what I mean? And I do feel like that's a commonality with competitors. And then the other thing I noticed that you were talking about that I feel personally is so true with myself and other people that I work with is, you're talking about it being a spiritual journey. To elaborate on that, tell me if you agree with this, but I feel like we all have so many emotional things that we like bottle up and we don't realize it. They're like subconscious things, whether it's like, your job, your relationships, other like extraneous kind of variables in your life. Like a lot of times people will just kind of like have it all bottled up. And every time somebody pushes their body to the limit, goes through a challenge like a bodybuilding show, doesn't have to be at the Olympia level, it could be any level, right? A lot of these things come to the surface and it does become this intense spiritual and emotional kind of pulling things out from deep down from within. And this is, I feel like every time I go through a prep, things surface for me. I have emotional moments, things that are brought up in my mind, then like things that are like put into my path. And a lot of times I think people feel like, oh my gosh, like all of a sudden, like when it rains, it pours. No, it's just that stuff was always there. It's just coming to the surface. Does that make sense?
It does. Crystal clear. Crystal clear. And then it just becomes from a maturity standpoint, can you find a way to deal with it? Or is this an opportunity for you to involve someone, and maybe it's connected to someone? Um, or again, for some people, it's just a matter of, okay, a reference. Hey, if somebody called you and said, hey, Wendy, I'm having X, Y, and Z as an issue. Is there anybody that you would recommend, right, that I can talk to about this? That's
Yeah.
okay too, right? You find resources, and I think you find ways and avenues to heal that.
Yeah.
And once you start to heal it, then that's the joy of the journey. And that's where some competitors who get caught up too much. I mean, yes, you know that the competition is coming, right?
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of what you focus on, right? And it's a matter of, okay, don't miss the growing lesson for you being so caught up on fixating on them,
Mm-hmm.
because then you miss the joy of the journey, because then it's like you're so focused and fixated on them, and they're coming, and what are they bringing, and what are they doing, and what are they not doing? What about you?
Mm-hmm.
this
Yeah.
is this is where I think every competitor should find a way to go to within. It should
Yeah.
be about you and why are you doing this?
Mm-hmm. And
There's something out of it that you should be looking to walk away with. But again, what is that thing?
yeah,
What do you want for your life? Because there is a lot of investment, but why does it make sense for you to continue to invest or to invest? Because it's all energy, right? Why are
right.
you investing time and energy somewhere where you may not really blossom and be
Yeah.
rewarded for giving your energy to that?
Yeah. You
Oh.
know, I haven't mastered this consistently, but I will say, when you operate that way, I think it shows when you're on stage. There's like this energy that you bring to the stage, and we can see it here. It's like you're in your own league because you've decided that you're in your own league. You're not trying to, I guess, compete with other people. You just are coming on that stage, and you know, like no one's gonna touch this. And if they do, it won't bother you, won't shake you, because you're so freaking confident in what you're bringing to the stage, and it shows. I mean, look at the confidence. Something I'm trying to master myself, but put me through your mental process when you step on that stage.
Ah,
Ha.
the world is watching. The world is watching. And this is what we've been working on. This is what lights my soul on fire, to just go out there and show the world what God has given me. I mean, I've always had a unique and a different look with my physique. So then it just becomes this is an opportunity. And a lot of people don't realize. So AMI was the company that used to own the Olympia. When
Yeah.
2020 happened, they really needed to get out from under that business. It really wasn't, and that's the way they look at it, as a business. And don't get me wrong, it is a business, but Jake Wood is very different in the sense that he loves bodybuilding,
Yeah.
right? That's the slogan, bodybuilding for everybody. And when you look at specifically my division, it went away for 6 years.
I know.
This
Crazy.
is an opportunity of a lifetime.
Right.
How dare you step on that stage acting as if somebody owes you a thing? How dare
Ooh.
you go into your prep and act as though, this is something very special, and it
Right.
should be treated as that.
Yep. Yep.
And
I
again, I can't speak for other divisions, but especially for mine, and having, dissatisfaction with my old
Mhm.
job. And I
Yeah.
ended up losing my job. They couldn't afford to continue to pay me my salary. So it
Yeah.
was just a matter of, this door opened, and it's such a blessing. And the best way to show that you value something and you appreciate something is in how you handle it and how you care for it. And
Yeah.
so this is it's so much more than just bodybuilding.
Oh,
Bodybuilding is what you see on stage, but it's so much more than
yeah.
just that. It's been healing. It's been, a personal growth. It's been obviously a means for me to be able to reach more people across the world, to
Mhm.
encourage women and men to take the best care of their health. An
Yeah.
avenue that, without it, how else would we have a voice? Without that stage, how else will people be able to say, you know what, I'm going to listen to what she has to say, because this
Yeah.
looks like I should pay attention, right? This is an
That's actually
opportunity.
it's a perspective. I don't even know why it wasn't crossing my mind, but it does cross my mind. But you really helped me bring it up in my mind again, which is just like the gratitude of the fact that we have this platform. Jake Wood has been a godsend for us in our industry, and I think that we maybe all collectively took for granted what we had for us until it was taken away. And trust me, Andrea, we all felt that. When bodybuilding was taken away, just because like the division I competed in wasn't directly impacted, it felt like there was something happening in the bodybuilding world. Like we were being taken down, and it's like, take one, take all. Like we felt the impact of that. Same thing, with the Arnold. When we're taken out from the Arnold, it's like even before figure was taken out, I felt it. When bodybuilding was taken out, physique was taken out, I feel those things too. And I think a lot of athletes do, because we all feel like we're in it together in a way, you know what I mean? So when it's brought back, also collectively, we all feel so grateful because it feels like the bodybuilding world is growing. It feels like we have somebody who really cares about us and will do anything for us. Like if we see that Jake is willing to do that for the women's bodybuilding, we feel confident that if anything were to happen to someone else's division, we feel like, you know, we have that support. It just feels very good to know that there's that care and that support system, knowing that, you know, he's sacrificing a lot and everybody over there is sacrificing a lot to make sure that we have this platform. It really, I feel you on that. I'm totally with you on that.
Yeah, and I mean there was a lot in question before Jake Wood acquired the Olympia as to whether or not there would be an Olympia for anyone.
I know.
So this is, again, I don't think people, and this is from my understanding of the old company. I don't know any of the people from the old company, but from things that I have heard is that if AMI would have not been open to Jake Wood's acquisition, bodybuilding, that means Mr. Olympia, figure, fitness, everybody would have been gone.
He saved
so
us.
When you think about that, hello. It's like, come on. Hello, wake up, people. This is like opportunity. And, you know, we have this right now. We have it right now in our laps.
Yep.
Make the most of it.
This is why you're such a great ambassador, because this goes so beyond you. I am of the opinion that whoever holds the title, it's so beyond you once you get that title, because you're representing the whole entire industry. You know, you have now become the pillar of not just the women's bodybuilding, but of like female empowerment, female strength. You know, people look at you, you're a role model. There's so much weight that comes with that. And your head is in the right place. You know, you're thinking, okay, so this is something that I have gratitude for. You know, I'm blessed to be on that stage. I get to be on that stage. All of that is energy that you see when somebody's on that stage.
Yeah. And it's again, opportunity of a lifetime, especially now. We've got social media, so we have a much further reach.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know, how long have you been competing since?
Oh my gosh. I've been competing since 2008.
Same. Okay, so you remember, like back then there were, like, I had to study figure posing from a DVD. I had an old Jenny Lynn DVD.
Jenny Lynn?
Watch Jenny Lynn, God rest her soul. She was such a sweetheart. I just had to practice over and over and over with the one piece there.
This is the one piece.
The velvet one piece. Oh my gosh. I still don't know what to do with it. Like, yeah.
I can't believe I saw that you did figure. I didn't know you did figure.
Yeah, I did. I did 2 figure shows. And they went well, but I needed to just get out there and get my feet wet to just see, you know, what it was that I could do. And it worked out well. I think it worked out really well. But that one piece was quite an interesting journey along the evolution of bodybuilding. But to say the least, I mean, when you have social media now, you get to influence so many more people, right? And you get to have more conversations, deliver so much more encouragement. And again, it's so much different because back then it was more magazines, and then if the athlete actually showed up somewhere. Yeah, so now we have such a huge ability to deliver a greater impact.
I agree.
Let's do that.
Isn't it crazy? I know, it's so crazy to me when I think about starting in 2008 and how, like, I know people are not going to understand this, but Andrea, me and you were going to age ourselves a little bit here, but I just think it's so crazy that when we started, I got a Monica Brandt DVD. Like, it was like the secret of DVD.
Yes.
I learned how to pose from that, right? And there was no social media. I mean, I think I had a MySpace. Did you have MySpace?
I did not.
You didn't have MySpace? Okay. I had MySpace. I had a Facebook. I think I started those like towards the end of college or something like that. And then when Instagram came on, it was like the whole industry just lit on fire. That was when everything just went in the bodybuilding world, because suddenly people are sharing photos and doing selfies. Do you remember the first time that like people started doing selfies and everybody was like, what's a selfie? Do you remember that?
what is a selfie stick? It was like, what is this? It's too much.
So
But I mean, it took
funny.
fire, and Instagram really took flight because I mean, Facebook could get really long. I mean, you still could get some long drawn out posts on Instagram, but Instagram is much more rapid moving, and I think
Yes.
that's why it's been able to give so much of a voice to
Yeah.
our sport. Again, people want to. I mean, most people are on a time crunch anyway. You know, you can get that quick hit of inspiration, be inspired, hit the heart, or give a comment really quick, and then move on with your day. But it's easy, and that's what I really enjoy about Instagram. I have TikTok, but I still prefer Instagram over TikTok, just
Mhm.
because again, it's just easy to navigate. I'm much
Too.
more familiar with it. Yeah,
And that's like wherever you acquire your critical mass, it's like, do you really want to send people here and send people there? It's just like, you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Keep it
I don't know.
simple, just like we do in prep. Keep it
Right.
simple.
Right. No, well, Instagram is making it nice because they're adding all the elements of like TikTok and like, all these different apps. They're kind of trying to find a way to keep people there, which is good.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Speaking of Instagram, I mean, there's a lot of people run their businesses now on social media. They promote shows on social media. There's so many great things that come with it. And you were part of the Triple O Dynasty promotion team. So, which I think, I mean, obviously I was in the show. I saw how amazing it went. Um, I would love,
Obviously, you won the show. Obviously,
oh,
you won the show.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that was absolutely
It
awesome.
was amazing. It was such a good experience. But we're not going to talk about me. I want to talk about you and everything that you did going into this because it was so well done. And I loved the collaboration between these three champions. And you brought Natalia Coelho in, which was really cool. Um,
Yeah.
Tell me about this. Like, how did you ladies like rally together and make this happen? Because this is pretty amazing. Sorry, I can't really. Sorry about that, guys.
Oh, I know it's okay.
Twist
Well,
your head
obviously,
if you're watching.
Sid Gillen and I have been working professionally together since 2020. And I mentioned to her one day, I said, I would love to get a pro show going at some
Mhm.
point, but I think that I would start with an amateur show and then kind of see where it goes
Yeah.
from there. And I should have known who I was talking to because Sid is an absolute beast of a woman when it comes to ambition,
Yeah.
which is one reason why we click, we get along so well.
Mhm.
And a couple months later, she's like, "So, you still thinking about?" And I was like, "Yeah, why?" And she's like, "So here's what I'm thinking." And I was like, "Oh my God, yes!" And especially since yes, our divisions were removed from the Arnold,
Yeah.
and a lot of people wanted to talk and chime in. It's just not, and I get it. There's a time and a place for voicing concerns, but I felt like social media was not the call to action when it came to just venting off, because unfortunately a lot of people can get on social media, vent off, but then they do nothing,
Right.
right? So
I
where are you going to be the catalyst for the
right.
change? And that's
Right.
where it made sense to stand up for what it is that we feel is right
Right.
when it
Right.
comes to representation for
And
our divisions.
really fast to elaborate on that before we continue is, just for the audience to know, it's like women, we have been kind of feeling a little bit shafted in some of the, larger shows. And so you ladies, rather than venting off about how you felt, you decided to take action and do something about it. And that's what we all kind of felt that energy. And that's what I think made it so special.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's kind of the way we operate. It's a
Yeah.
matter of we're not going to talk about it, we're going to be about it.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be about it, and the people that are with us, we love it. The people who are hesitant, it's okay. You can just stand by, just make sure you're
Yeah.
not in the way. And again, respectfully, we
Mm-hmm.
had something in mind that really is near and dear to us because we
Yeah.
know how much competing in our divisions has changed our lives. I mean, we're champions in our divisions and we absolutely love it. I mean, we love it to our core. So again, what else can we do to give back became the question.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get granted a show, but then it was like, how do we level it up? And how do
Mm-hmm.
we make it an experience that women and men want to come back and we can continue to grow it? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's not just we put on a show for a little while, then, it goes away. No, we want to make sure this is cemented. And we all have such a good synergy between us. Wendy's always fun. I mean, who doesn't smile when they see that big old pretty blonde
Oh
just
yeah.
bouncing around? But
Whitney is
again, we
Whitney brings a whole vibe with her everywhere she goes.
she does.
We
And
always
that's
tell
what
people
we
to
that's what
say
makes
Whitney, Wendy, Wendy, Whitney 5 times fast because they always switch our names around.
I can see why. I can see
Yeah.
why. But that it became a no-brainer, really. And we wanted to do something that was within a certain proximity,
Yeah.
date-wise, to the Arnold, to give our ladies an opportunity, the professional ladies. And we're hopeful. We're hopeful to add more divisions soon. But we wanted to give our ladies an opportunity that like to get qualified early,
Yeah.
something that would get them qualified early, and then they could kind of coast into the rest of the year and prepare for the Olympia. So yeah, that was the game plan. And
Yeah.
again, make sure that we bring a certain level of integrity to the show.
Yeah.
Hence why, you got the bonus when you got
I
your
know.
winnings.
That
Yeah,
was amazing. I was so
yeah.
in shock. I had no idea that was coming. Well, I mean, first of all, like I wasn't expecting to win, but then when I did, and then I got that extra bonus prize purse, that was amazing.
Like
And
wow, right?
yeah, that was so wow. And but
Yeah.
honestly, like behind the scenes, watching you ladies promote the show was one of the things that made me really want to do it because I felt the magic kind of happening as we're getting closer to the show and just the hype that you were putting behind it. I could feel the energy and I just wanted to be a part of it. And I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah.
that magic touch that a lot of promoters want to have with their show, but it's like the perfect synergy of just like this collaboration between you fire ladies, just you and Whitney and Sid, just powerful women. And then the honestly, the marketing behind it was amazing. The color scheme,
Yeah.
the graphics, just everything all the details that you put into making the event look like it was going to be a magical experience, to the execution that you ladies all had was just top notch.
And we wanted to do it in 23, so we kind of kept that quiet. We actually had permission to go ahead and do the show in 23. But then it
Yeah,
just became a question of, do we want to rush? Do we really
right,
want to rush it, or do we want to take our time and make sure that we pay attention to all the details, right? Because at a certain point, we're all in prep for the
right.
Olympia, and it was like,
Yeah,
let's not rush it. Great things take time to build, and we wanted to make sure that we took our time. So it just made sense to do it in 2024, and it was absolutely perfect.
when you
Perfect.
go, okay, I have a question. When you go into an event like that, okay, because I've done like a few, like I've never done a show ever. I've done a few like big events in my life, and it's like going into it, you're nervous, you're like, oh my gosh, no one's gonna show up. It's gonna like all these things all these things are running through your mind, and you can't get sleep. And then the day comes, and then you're on the other side of that, and then you take this big breath of like relief and you're like, oh my gosh. So that's my experience with like big events and stuff. Tell me your experience.
I think more of the excitement just took over. It was
Yeah.
just once I saw that this was really happening, we had our banner, we picked out the colors, we picked out the trophies and the medals. It was like, I know that they're coming. I know that they're coming. Yeah, absolutely. And
They're
especially
coming.
because of, the way we decided to take our time and market, take our
Yep.
time and pick out, certain elements of this show that we knew it was going to be special. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was just more excited. Now, don't get me wrong, when the day after, we all were tired. We were very, very
You went out for a nice dinner. You like, I
tired,
bet it
and we
was,
slept. Oh, we slept. Oh, because
were
I mean,
you
I had
riding
other
a
business.
high?
But I was pretty tired. I mean, because I
Oh my
had
gosh.
more business to, and a lot of people, they know this, but I actually flew out of, I came into Arizona to help set up for the show, but then
Right.
I had to go out of town and do a shoot. So I had to fly to Denver and then fly back to Arizona the same day, right before we had our athlete check-in.
What?
I know.
Andrea,
Alex
you're
Picasso said, "Are you
crazy.
crazy?"
What? You
The
are
job
crazy.
must be. The job must be done. The job must be done.
Job must be done. Give
No,
it to a busy person and it will get done.
there you go. It will get done. There you go. If we can arrange it and make it happen, it'll get done.
Okay. Are you one of those like organized people, or are you like me where you're like a organized people? And let me explain. I am very organized, okay? But if anyone were to look at my organizational system, they would say this makes no sense, okay? Or my twin sister who owns a law practice, if you were to look at her organizational books, you would probably be able to do her schedule and live her schedule because it's so organized on paper. You could understand it like it's a language. Which one are you?
Yeah, I am an organized.
Okay. You're
I
like
am
my
definitely that because like certain things, like even I did some home reno over. Well, I wanted to get it all done before prep started, but like
yeah.
you like going into my like I need to be able to open the doors like in a certain space and see things very
Yeah.
neat and organized. Like that's
Okay.
I'm that. Yeah, like
Okay. Yeah. You know how people say I'm a type A or whatever? Well, people assume that I'm a type A, and I'm like, I'm not type A. I don't know what type I am, but I'm not type A. So you
I can't say that I'm type A. I mean I'm not that uptight, but
yeah,
I'm particular. I'm
you're
particular.
particular.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
I mean, it
particular.
shows in everything that you put out there. I mean, your the quality of everything that you produce and you put out there is just completely top notch. You know what I mean?
Thank
Um,
you.
you're I mean, I would imagine like anyone who is, you know, an Olympia champion, you are both a body expert, but you're also an artist, right? You are somebody who probably sees details and flaws and things throughout, like and outside of bodybuilding, right? Um, would you consider yourself to be an artistic person? Is that something that you've carried with you your whole life, or?
Yeah, yeah. The only thing with being more artistic, I mean, because I used to really enjoy like sculpting class and art class, and I used
Mhm.
to do cheer and gymnastics. So, like being into routines and getting that creative, especially with cheer, because we would do it collectively, right? It does it, but the flip side of the coin is that when you're going to be creative and artistic, it typically takes a lot of time if you're going to be, really good at it. So that's where some things I had to just kind of say, you know what, as much as I would enjoy doing it, like it's too much time, especially with drawing, because I used to love to draw.
I knew
It's a
it.
lot of time.
I knew it. And
It's a lot of time.
I feel like we're the same person right now because I'm the same. I am really artistic, but this is what I say actually when people ask me about it, because when you're an artist and you really have passion for it, you don't want to just like draw. You want to create something that's going to be amazing, and you want to sit down and have time to do that. But
Yeah.
enter bodybuilding where your body is your work of art, right?
Yes. So that's where it translates over in this space really well.
Exactly. Um, when you're working out, I mean, because you're really there's all these little details. You've created like the perfect physique, and you stay in really good shape all the time. When you're working out, are there little like projects, like you're like analyzing your physique? And I do this, so I'm wondering if you do it too. But like you analyze your physique, and you like there's like maybe little tiny things that you're just trying to etch on. Like, oh, I need a little bit more
Oh yeah.
anterior delt. Like I need a little. Oh shoot, like my gluteus medius is not popping as much as I need it to. Like I need to. Like, is that how you are?
Oh yeah, and I try to feel
Am I
for it.
speaking your
So
language here?
whenever I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So like especially like during certain twisting movements, I
Yeah.
like to make sure I can feel for my serratus and my
Mm,
obliques. Like I really want to be able to like when you see them, they are there, right?
yeah.
And that part I really try to do certain moves or certain holds. Like when I'm working with Sid, I'm like, okay, I'm going to work on holding this. Make
Yeah.
sure you got me in position, and then I feel for it, and then I just start practicing
Yeah.
over and over and over and over, and it becomes a good kind of obsession. But yeah, I like to be able to feel within my body because that way I know when I feel it, it's there and
Yeah.
it's on display. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'll record myself like videotape and then watch it back. I do the same thing with my stage shots. I am probably not the best one to ask about this part. I will take stage shots as soon as they're available and I pick them apart.
Me
I
too.
pick them apart. And I'm like, all right, got to do this, got to do that. Got to tighten up here, sharpen up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is where I'm like, you know what? I have to have something that I set as a priority so I can keep working. So yeah, that's where I'd like to be able to do it. But I know some people mentally have a hard time with that. But yeah, as soon as they're available, I know, because then it gives me, all right, next prep, I'm going to work on this, this, and this.
Okay, but hang on. Let's talk about that for a minute, okay? Tell me here, when you look at this, do you see any imperfections? Because it looks literally, you look perfect here. What do you see when you look at this? Is there anything you feel like you could improve on here?
Yeah, of course.
Do you want to tell the fans or no? You want to keep it to yourself?
I mean, just with the way that I kind of set up certain parts of the pose, I would just slightly change it slightly. So like bring in maybe my hands down a little bit more to show the serratus on the side, more obliques. But
Okay.
and then I slow down a little bit. It kind of scared us when we were like, okay, well, time. And I'm like, okay.
I know. I remember that. I rushed through my routine too, and I wish I hadn't because other people didn't. And I was like, hey, wait a minute. But I know you got to do it. You got to follow instructions, right? What about
Yeah,
here?
at least as best as you can.
I know. I'm just kidding. Just kidding, Tyler. I will follow instructions. I promise.
We always follow the directions. We
I
love our
promise I will follow the instructions. Okay.
and Tyler knows we love him.
He does. They're amazing judges. We absolutely do. So, and of course, JM, who does all this coverage, we appreciate him. It's,
Yeah.
why we were able to have access to this and share it because,
Yeah.
he does such a great job. So here, what about here? Like your back shot. I'm looking at this back. I'm looking at your glutes. I'm looking at your legs. Like what are you looking at here?
This one I'm okay with.
I'm like, yeah, okay. Here's and I'm just gonna have like a little moment here where I'm just gonna talk to you about it. This is where you really separate yourself, I think, because the quality of your muscle, it's not like grainy and like super like hard looking. It's full and pretty and plump and like juicy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have this
Apple
yeah.
pie showed up.
What?
The apple pie showed up.
Apple pie showed up.
I'm
Yes.
teasing. But I mean, this is what, being committed to, training, even when I was not competing. I took an 8-year break between figure and women's physique and just kept training. And I mean, a lot of people don't like to okay, let's not like slide past that. We're talking 8 years, almost a decade.
Girl, I hear you on that.
I had no anticipation on returning back to the stage because I wasn't big enough for women's bodybuilding, but I wasn't small enough for figure. And there was no women's physique at that time.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it shows in the quality of your muscle because I think that, we're not talking about, Andrea Shaw won because she was like the most shredded, ripped physique up there. Your conditioning is perfect. You're just like beautiful, full quality muscle on that stage. And when you're alone, it looks amazing. But I think that it really stands out when you're like in a pack of people. That's where that quality muscle usually really shines, I think it's so beautiful. And to think that you're looking at this performance and looking at things that you're going to improve on, it's kind of scary in a good way. Like what's coming from Andrea?
It's definitely going to be better. I even told one of the judges, I said, I'm going to be better next year.
Wow.
And he's like, I don't know how you're going to do it. I'm like, I'm going to find a way. I'm committed to being the very best that I can be because, and that's where sometimes I don't understand how some champions don't practice a routine or they don't come to this stage. They just wing it. It's like people pay money to come see you, and you just gonna wing it? It's such a disrespect.
Yeah.
It's such a disrespect. It's like, we are performers.
Yep.
At the end of the day, we are performers.
Yep.
And if you don't really want to do, I mean, because doing the posing routine became the hardest part for me early on, until I started to work with people who were better at it than me, who could guide me and do certain things for.
Oh, we lost her. Andrea, come back. For everyone who's still there, we're just going to wait for Andrea to come back. I'll add to the stage the rest of her routine here while we're waiting for her to come back. But what I will say here is, Andrea, she is completely in a league of her own, I believe. She has an amazing physique, full muscle bellies. Here she is. Andrea, are you there? Andrea?
Are you there?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
For some reason,
sorry, live TV people. We haven't lost anyone. Everyone's still here. Oh, Andrea, I hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you. Okay. She can't hear us. All right. I can hear you. Anyway. Andrea.
Okay, no audio.
I can hear you.
I'm going to turn them off. We can get the audio back.
Oh my gosh. What is that? Someone is doing fireworks behind me. I didn't do that. Who did that?
I don't know how that happened.
Did you do that? Oh my gosh. Okay. Whoa. We just lost Andrea. Okay. Everybody don't go anywhere. Okay. The champ is coming back. We have to say goodbye to her. I have a couple more questions that I want to ask her, but to everyone here who's joining us live, let me know if you have any questions.
Okay. Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I tried to hold the fort down, Andrea, but I did not do a very good job. But here's the good news. Nobody left.
Sorry about that. I ended up getting a phone call. I'm like, really? Not now.
I was really trying to hold the fort down, but I was not killing it on that. But we have you here now. Okay.
So we are live.
Yeah? We are live. Yes. We are live.
Do we have people in the chat?
No one left. Everyone's still here. Yeah.
Oh, hi, people. Thank you for your patience.
All right. So, Andrea. Okay. So now we have everyone here. So let's get to the juicy stuff. Now, I want to know 4 titles. All right. How many titles do you have left in the tank?
My heart's desire is to get 6 more. After number 5. After number 5.
That's amazing.
So that would be a total of 11.
Wow.
Let's put a caveat on it. As long as I still physically feel good about it, right? I think people need to always consider if they're still in a good space, especially after what I went through in 2019. Always consider if you're still in a good mental space to keep going.
Yep.
Right? Yep. And physical space. You always want to make sure that those 2 things are pretty much front and center, because you're not getting on that stage and presenting a good package without it.
Right. Now,
so as long as I stay in a good space physically and mentally with it, and I still love it and enjoy it, the ultimate goal is 11. And Miss Kyle approached me after last year's winning. And she said, I want you to break the record.
That's what I was going to just tell you. That's the significance.
Yes. Yeah. And she didn't have to. And Iris and I, we chatted a bit, and she said, you have my blessing. And for her to just tell me that, it meant a lot.
Wow.
It meant a lot. And I mean, I absolutely adore her for that, because she kept it real. She said, I believe that you can, and I want you to.
That's amazing. There's a little history here, because we have Linda Murray at 8. We have Iris Kyle at 10. And Iris Kyle's 10th was the last time that women's bodybuilding was on the Olympia stage before the 6-year hiatus. Okay. And then we had you come in to the picture, and you've kind of taken the baton from Iris. So it is amazing that she's kind of given you her blessing, because she had to stop at 10, but she wants you to be able to take that to the next level. Break
And
it.
we're all from Michigan. Did you know that?
What? I did not know
From
that.
Michigan. We are all
What is
from
in the
Michigan. All
water over there?
yes.
I need to go move to Michigan. I need to like come out there and like get the winning vibe, the winner sauce out there. You guys are
I'm
killing
telling
it.
you. I'll show you where all the secret sauce is.
I'm not kidding. I actually would love to come out there and train with you. I'm not even joking.
Oh, come on, deal. Come on. Powerhouse is waiting for you. We have the
Oh,
first powerhouse that was ever in existence in the country. The
oh, man.
original. Started right here.
I know. I will. But we should probably snag a workout with Miss Linda at the Wings of Strength headquarters. I think that would be fun. I would love that.
Oh yeah.
So
Deal. Let's set it up.
we're just yes to everything. We're just gonna do it up. We're connected, we're aligned, and we're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So Andrea, okay, last thing, I just want to know, I'm going to let you have the final word. Tell me, just leave your fans with some of your final words of wisdom.
Whatever's in your heart, you have to go after it. Don't live with the regret of what you could have done or what you could have said. Get the courage to do whatever that thing is that scares you, but you are hopeful that it will turn out the way you imagine it, because it could turn out that much better. But you have to have the courage to take that step. Yeah, do it. Do it.
That was soothing. I have something to say to that. Okay, mic drop. No. And on that note, okay, Andrea, thank you so much for joining me. I just adore you. I love talking to you. I feel inspired and motivated myself, and I'm sure everybody else does right now too. Oh, that was cool. Did you do that? What?
I guess I did, but it came up on its own.
I just learned something new on live. You guys, look at that. We're making hearts.
Cool. All right.
Doing that. Okay, anyway, I'm a dork. That was so cool. Anyway.
Well, thank you, WOLFpak, too, for having me on. I absolutely love Mike. I love what he's doing in the industry. This is absolutely amazing that he's coming into our space. I still have every single last WOLFpak bag. I love it.
All right.
And I just think that, them bringing you on was a good move. So we love to see it. Keep doing what you're doing, girl. We loving it.
Yay. Don't go anywhere. I want to talk to you after this and say an extra goodbye. So stick around. Okay. And to everybody watching, thank you all for coming and showing Andrea some love. We love having you here. And until next time, we will see you on the flip side.